Today we got a blog post going over everything Modern Warfare 3 Zombies gameplay. And I'll be honest with you, if you guys actually have played DMZ lately, like not launched DMZ because it's entirely different from how it is now, but if you guys play it lately, you would actually understand the basics of how a lot of this is going to work because it is DMZ Zombies at the end of the day. Like everyone should know that by now. So if you know how DMZ works, then you should have a general idea of how the basics work. Don't get me wrong, there are new and unique things that are going to be here also, but for the basics, of course, those are going to be similar to DMZ. And to start that all off, let's actually look at the operators. So here you have different operators. You can choose for them to be whoever you want. In this you see Rocket and Price, but this is important because these operators are tied to specific on-soldier gear. And obviously you see all 5 of the possible gear here being a backpack, that they actually call backpacks rucksacks in this, kill streak, armor vest, gas mask, and self-revive kits. And these are going to be tied specifically to that operator. They can't be shared between operators. These ones have to be for these specific operators, and you have to loot those items when you are that specific operator. Now this of course is different from your loadout, which we see in this next image. Now for your tactical lethals and field upgrades, these things do not have to be loaded. You just have to have them unlocked, and once you do, you can just use them over and over again. There's an infinite supply of them. Now for the field upgrades, they actually give us a list of all of them. We have Energy Mine, no one's using you, Frenzy Guard, Healing Aura, Frost Blast, no one's using you either, Ether Shroud, and Tesla Storm. One thing they don't mention if these can be upgraded or what, because they were able to be upgraded in Cold War, so I'm kind of curious to see how they handle it in this game. Another thing in the loadout we could go over is the weapons, and we're talking about the regular weapons for now, but there's 2 different types of weapons just like DMZ. There's contraband and there's insured. Your contraband weapons are the ones you loot around the map or complete missions, and they give you them as rewards, but if you do use these weapons and you do fail to exfil at the end of the game, you will lose them permanently. Now your insured weapons, you'll have up to 3 slots that you can unlock, but these are weapons you can fully customize to be however you want. And if you do go into a game and you fail to exfil, they're insured, so that means that they will be gone for a while, but it'll just be on a cooldown, but once that cooldown's up, you'll be able to use that weapon again. Now for the rest of the parts of the loot, we do see a backpack, and in this we actually see them having a large rucksack, which has up to 9 slots that we actually see here, but we also know there are different sizes of backpacks that you actually start off with a small that only has 5 slots. Now as for the things in the backpack, the first thing we actually see is what appears to be a broken watch. So it seems like they're going to continue to have the random useless junk that you can loot around the map, which might be important for 2 different things. One thing I know for sure is that you actually just go to a buy station and sell it for essence, and with that money you could then use it to spin the mystery box, or all the other normal zombie stuff that you do to spend money on, or you could stay inside that buy station and buy a kill streak or something like that, or even a gas mask, or probably even a backpack I would hope, or a rucksack, so that'll be another option. Now the other thing we'll come back to why I think these might be important, but for now the other thing we see is actually an ether crystal, and these ether crystals are interesting because in this image here we actually see the different rarities of ether crystals. We have rare, epic, and legendary, but also at the bottom we have the ether tools of uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Now what the point of these 2 things are is that the ether crystals are actually used to pack punch your gun to level 1 and 2. It does not pack punch it to level 3. The only way to do that is to go into the level 3 zone and find the pack punch machine. We've already been told this before. Now the other item, the ether tool, is actually used to upgrade the rarity of your gun, and that's exactly why you see uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary rarities of this. But of course the final thing we see in the backpack are perk cans, and I believe these perk cans are different from the perks you actually like drink and use in the game. Like what happens here is that if you already have jug and you find another jug can, what you could do is just exfil with that can, then another game you could just load in with that jug can and drink it right at the start, so you have jug right from the get-go. I believe that's how it's going to work. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work. Now another thing we have is the actual perks, and there's going to be 9. All of the 9 from Cold War actually returning: Deadshot Daiquiri, Death Perception, Elemental Pop, Juggernog, PhD Flopper, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, and Tombstone. Tombstone is the only one that has a mate. Well, I guess also PhD Flopper is back. It's PhD Flopper now instead of Slider, but Tombstone's the major one because it's kind of actually useful for once, because your Tombstone actually goes from game to game. So if you actually were unable to exfil the previous game, you just load back into a game, you could go find your Tombstone, it'll give you everything that you thought you lost back. Now as for everything that is in this backpack, they actually have a name for all this stuff, and it's actually called acquisitions. And acquisitions are just single use items that could give you advantage on the battlefield, so it could be like really a lot of different things. But that's not the only thing you can actually find or loot around the game, and the other thing is actually schematics. And what they say is schematics are highly sought after plans that permanently allow you to craft acquisitions that you could add to your rucksack. Schematics have a cooldown period after which they could be brought into the exclusion zone. And then we get a little image of how this whole menu is going to work. We see the little acquisition stash where you could stash all your extra acquisitions, and then you have the schematics crafting. There's 21 different schematics here, so there's a lot of different things apparently you could use as schematics. But one thing I'm curious about is that it does say it's on a cooldown, so that makes me think that it's going to work identically to how insured weapons work, is that once you find that schematic, you're just going to permanently be able to use whatever the thing is that the schematic does, and if you ever lose it or whatever, you just have to wait on a cooldown. But I'm kind of hope that they actually incorporate that kind of broken watch thing. I hope that it's schematics crafting for a reason, and you have to find the right items. And this is important because one of the things that could actually be a schematic is the freaking wonder weapons. They did confirm this, that the schematics could be a ray gun, whatever the name of the new wonder weapon is, or the wonder waff. And to me, I think it would be kind of insane just to have a wonder weapon as a pretty much insured weapon. I hope that on top of acting like an insured weapon, you also need to have specific crafting items in order to use that schematic. They don't say that, but I kind of hope that's how it's going to work, because I think it'd be kind of broken otherwise. Unless level 3 zone is really that bad and you always need a wonder weapon, then it would make sense why they want you to always have a wonder weapon at hand. But I don't know, I guess we'll wait and see. Now, the other thing that's also going to be here are the ammo mods, and obviously all returning from Cold War are going to be Brain Rot, Cryo Freeze, Dead Wire, Napalm Burst, and Shatter Blast. And it says you could rather find these around the map, or you could craft them probably through a schematic. Now, it gives us a general idea of how the gameplay is going to work, and you could rather just explore the different, threat areas, which are low, medium, and high threat zones, just doing whatever that is, leveling up your gun or unlocking camos, or you could complete contracts. They don't actually give us a list of contracts, but they do tell us that by completing they give you essence and acquisitions. And the other things they say you could do is just upgrade your character, whether it be pack punching or just finding different things around the map to upgrade your character. And of course, to wrap it all up, you have to exfil at the end because you don't want to lose all that stuff unless you have Tombstone. Now, here's a really interesting here, and this is the missions, because how this is going to work is that there's actually going to be acts, and these acts are going to be broken up into tiers, and the tiers are going to be broken up into missions, and the missions are going to be broken up into tasks. That sounds a little bit confusing, but just kind of think of it in a branching situation. You want to complete all the tasks in a mission, and all the missions that you complete need to be completed in order to finish a tier, and after completing all the tiers, you'll finish an act, and there's actually 3 acts in total. Now, we don't know for sure what you're going to get as a reward. They do say it's redacted, but it's been rumored for a while that this is actually how you unlock the cutscenes and the story of this game. By completing all of these acts, and that's probably why they're called acts, they're going to reward you with cutscenes. So it actually gives you a pretty good reason to actually do the missions, unlike in years before. Unless you don't care about story, then it's still as useless as ever, but hey, at least it gives you something for the people who are interested in the story at least. But I believe that wraps up everything for this. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Do you guys think that this is enough to be its own thing, or is it too much like DMZ, or do you just like how it is, or just are waiting to see? I know for me, I'm just waiting to see how it all plays out. It's going to be here soon enough, so I'll judge it when we actually get our hands on it. Regardless, though, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys did enjoy the video and you found it informative in any way, shape, or form, I'd appreciate if you guys dropped a like, subscribe, bell, share, or any of that great stuff. But I'm going to go catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And, laters, guys.